People listened when I spoke. They respected my decisions. They trusted my judgment. When someone at work had a problem, they came to me. When my friends needed advice, I was the first call. When my family needed someone to lean on, I was there. For 41 years, that felt like enough. Being respected, being reliable, being the one people could count on. But one day, sitting alone in my living room, I realized something that made my chest tighten. No one actually knew me. Not really. They knew what I did, what I could provide, how I could help. But me, the person underneath all that competence, the fears I carried, the doubts I buried, the loneliness I'd been ignoring for years, that person was invisible, and I'd helped make him that way. This is my story. And if you've ever felt respected but unseen, if you've spent so long being solid that you've forgotten how to be vulnerable, this might hit closer to home than you expect. Welcome to Good Stories Today, your channel for emotional and inspiring stories. Listen while you drive, work, or simply seek inspiration. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next videos. Chapter 1: The Respected Man. My name is Jordan. I'm an engineering manager at a tech company in Austin, Texas. For the last 15 years, I've been the guy people come to when things go wrong. Product launch running late? Call Jordan. Client freaking out? Jordan will handle it. Team conflict that needs mediating? Jordan's the one. And I was good at it. Really good. People respected my judgment, trusted my decisions, valued my input. I got promoted 3 times in 7 years, made good money, had a reputation as someone who could be counted on. Outside of work, it was the same story. My friends called me when they needed advice about careers, relationships, money problems. My younger brother texted when he was struggling with his marriage. My parents relied on me to organize family gatherings, handle their tech issues, help them navigate retirement planning. Everyone had a role for me in their life, and I played every single one perfectly. The capable one, the stable one, the one with answers. I told myself that's what it meant to be a good man. Show up, solve problems, don't complain, be useful. And for a long time, that worked. But here's what I didn't notice. People were listening to me, but no one was asking about me. They wanted my advice, but not my story. They valued my strength, but never questioned what it cost. They respected my competence, but had no idea what was happening inside. I was surrounded by people all day, every day. Meetings, calls, Slack messages, family dinners, friend hangouts. But I was completely alone. Not in an obvious way, not in a way anyone could see, but in the way that matters most. No one knew what kept me up at night. No one asked if I was struggling. No one seemed to notice that I never talked about myself, because I was too busy being the person everyone needed me to be. The problem? I'd become so good at that role, I'd forgotten there was supposed to be anything else. But I didn't realize how deep that went, until one conversation changed everything. Chapter 2: The Wake-Up Call. It was a Thursday in October. I'd been in back-to-back meetings all day, product review in the morning, performance discussions in the afternoon, strategic planning that ran 2 hours over. By 6 p.m., I was mentally exhausted. I walked to my car in the parking garage and my phone rang. It was my brother. "Hey man, got a minute?" I did, but I was tired, really tired. For the first time in maybe ever. I actually thought about saying no, but I didn't, because that's not what I do. So I sat in my car and listened to him talk about a fight he'd had with his wife, about feeling unappreciated, about struggling to balance work and family, real heavy stuff. And I listened, asked questions, offered perspective. After 40 minutes, he said, "Thanks, man. I really needed that. You always know what to say." "Yeah, of course. Anytime." "All right, I gotta run. Kids need dinner. Talk soon." Click. I sat there in the dark parking garage staring at my phone, and something shifted. Not anger, not resentment, just clarity. I'd just spent 40 minutes helping him process his feelings, and he hadn't asked me a single question about my life. Not how work was going, not how I was feeling, not if I needed anything, nothing. And the worst part? I couldn't even blame him, because I'd never given him a reason to think I needed anything. I'd been so relentlessly competent, so consistently stable, so thoroughly fine for so long, that no one even thought to ask anymore. I drove home in silence, walked into my apartment, and realized something I'd been avoiding for years. This is what every single day of my life looked like now. People calling when they needed something, me showing up, solving it, making them feel better. Then going home to an empty house where no one asked how I was. And the silence wasn't just in my apartment, it was in my head, because I didn't know how I was either. I'd spent so long focused on everyone else's problems, everyone else's needs, everyone else's feelings, that I'd completely lost touch with my own. That night I asked myself a question I should have asked years earlier. When was the last time someone asked me how I was really doing? Not the polite, "How's it going?" as they passed in the hallway, but actual curiosity, genuine interest in what was happening inside me. I scrolled through my texts, pages and pages of people asking for advice, requesting help, checking if I was available to talk through their stuff. But not a single message asking about me. Not because people were cruel, not because they didn't care, but because I'd trained them not to see me as someone who had inner life. I was the solution provider, the problem solver, the steady presence. Not a person with fears, doubts, struggles, needs. And that's when I understood something devastating. I thought respect meant connection. It didn't, but it would take hitting rock bottom for me to understand the real cost of that mistake. Chapter 3. The cost. The isolation started affecting everything. I wasn't sleeping, barely eating. My energy was gone. At work, I was going through the motions, still competent, still reliable, but empty. Like I was watching my own life from behind glass. The cost showed up in my dating life too. I'd been single for 3 years. Nothing serious since my last relationship ended when I was 38. My ex, Sarah, had said she felt like we weren't really connecting, that she didn't feel like she knew me. At the time, I thought she was being dramatic. But now, 3 years later, I finally understood what she meant. She didn't know me. Not because I didn't share information. I shared plenty of information. But I never shared what was underneath. The doubts, the fears, the moments of uncertainty. I was always on, always performing competence, and she'd gotten tired of dating a performance. She wanted to be with a person, and I didn't know how to be that. The cost showed up in my health too. I went to my doctor for sleep issues. She ran some tests. Cortisol was high, testosterone was low, signs of chronic stress. "Are you under a lot of pressure?" she asked. "Not really," I said. "Work's busy, but it's always busy." She looked at my chart. "Your numbers suggest your body's been in fight or flight mode for a long time. Are you dealing with anxiety, depression?" I shrugged. "I don't think so. I mean, I feel fine." She didn't look convinced. "Jordan, your body's telling a different story than your words." And she was right. My body was screaming what my mouth wouldn't say. I'm not fine. I'm not handling it. I need help. But I didn't know how to ask for it. Because asking for help meant admitting I couldn't do it alone. And doing it alone was the only identity I'd ever known. One night, I was lying in bed when a memory hit me. I was 7 years old. My dad had just lost his job. Mom was stressed. Money was tight. I remember my dad sitting at the kitchen table late at night, doing math on a calculator, looking worried. I walked in. "Dad, are you okay?" He looked up, forced a smile. "I'm fine, buddy. Just grown-up stuff. Don't worry about it." And he went back to his calculator. I stood there for a minute, then went back to bed. And I learned something that night. Men don't share their struggles. Men handle things quietly. Men don't burden other people with what they're going through. Over the next 34 years, I lived that lesson. And now, at 41, I'd perfected the art of suffering silently, of carrying weight alone, of never letting anyone see me struggle. Because that's what good men do. Except it's not. It's what broken men do. Men who learned that strength means isolation, that being needed is love, that vulnerability is weakness. and I'd spent 4 decades building my entire identity around a lie. But I was about to discover that sometimes hitting bottom is the only way to find solid ground. Chapter 4. The First Crack. The first crack came at a work happy hour. It was one of those awkward team-building things our company did quarterly. Usually I'd show up for an hour, make conversation, then leave early. But this time, I stayed. Not because I wanted to, but because I was so tired of going home to an empty apartment that even awkward small talk felt better than silence. We were at a bar downtown, about 15 people from my team. The conversation was the usual stuff: work gossip, weekend plans, the game playing on the TV. Then one of the younger engineers, Marcus, started talking about his dad, how his dad had just retired after 40 years at the same company, how he seemed lost now, didn't know what to do with himself. It's like his whole identity was his job, Marcus said, and now that it's gone, he doesn't know who he is. People started sharing about parents who'd tied their whole identity to one role, and how hard it was watching them struggle when that role went away. I was sitting there, drink in hand, nodding along. But inside, my chest was getting tight, because I was seeing myself in every story they told. Then someone turned to me. "Jordan, you've been quiet. What do you think?" Everyone looked at me, waiting for wisdom, for perspective, for the thoughtful, measured response I always gave. And I opened my mouth, and for the first time in my adult life, I told the truth. "I think I'm terrified of that," I said. The table got quiet. "I think I've spent my whole life being the person people need, and I don't know who I am when I'm not doing that." I could feel my face getting hot. Like, you all know me as the guy who has his shit together, the one you come to when things go wrong. And I'm good at that. I've built my whole life around being good at that. I took a breath. But the truth is, I'm lonely. Really lonely. And I don't think anyone actually knows me. Not really. Because I'm so busy being useful that I've forgotten how to just be a person. The silence stretched. I immediately regretted saying anything. "This wasn't the kind of thing you said at a work happy hour. This was too much, too real." But then Marcus said, "Man, I feel that." And someone else said, "Yeah, me too." And suddenly the conversation shifted. People started sharing their own experiences with loneliness, with feeling like they had to perform a certain role, with struggling to be vulnerable. And for the first time in years, I wasn't the one giving advice. I was just there, being honest, being seen. We talked for 2 more hours, and when I finally left, walking to my car alone, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Relief. Not because the problem was solved, but because I'd let someone see it. I'd cracked the armor, just a little, and the world didn't end. Over the next few weeks, something strange started happening. Marcus would check in on me, not asking for advice, just asking how I was doing. A couple other people from that night would send me random texts. Funny memes, articles they thought I'd like, not because they needed something, but because they were treating me like a person, not a resource. And it felt good, better than respect, better than being needed. It felt like connection. But here's the thing about cracking the armor. Once you start, it's hard to stop. And you start to wonder, what would happen if I let more people in? That's when I decided to run an experiment that would change everything. Chapter 5. Who Remains? I decided to run an experiment. Not a formal one, just a shift in how I showed up. Instead of being the first to offer help, I'd wait. Instead of always having answers, I'd sometimes say, "I don't know." Instead of performing strength, I'd be honest about struggle. And then I'd see who stayed. The first test was with my friends. I called my friend Mike and said I was having a rough week. Could we grab a beer? He paused, then said, "Yeah, sure. What's going on?" We met up. And for the first time in our 10-year friendship, I didn't spend the whole time listening to his problems. I talked about mine. about feeling disconnected, about struggling with loneliness, about not knowing how to build real relationships. He listened, asked questions, shared some of his own experience with similar stuff, and at the end of the night, he said something that stuck with me. "Man, I didn't know you were going through this. You always seem so, together." "Yeah," I said. "That's kind of the problem. Mike and I are still friends, but it's different now. More real, less transactional. Not everyone made the transition. I had another friend, Brian, who I'd been close with for years. But when I stopped being the one who always had advice, always knew what to say, always made him feel better, he kind of drifted away. And it hurt, but it also clarified something. He didn't want a friend. He wanted a therapist. And I'd been willing to play that role because it felt like connection. But it wasn't. It was just another form of being used. The second test was with my brother. After Christmas, I called him. Not because he needed something, just to talk. "Hey man, what's up?" "Nothing, I just wanted to call, see how you're doing." Pause. "Is everything okay?" "Yeah, everything's fine. Can't I just call?" We talked for a while. Then I said, "Can I ask you something?" "Sure. Do you feel like we're close? Like as brothers?" Long pause. "I mean, yeah, I think so." "Why?" "I've been thinking about it, and I feel like you know me as helpful Jordan, but you don't really know me. Like what I struggle with, what I'm afraid of, what I actually want from life." He was quiet for a moment. "You're right," he finally said. "I don't know that stuff, but you never talk about it." "I know, and that's on me. But I'm trying to change that." We talked for another hour, really talked. About his marriage struggles, about my loneliness, about our childhood and the ways we'd both learned to hide what we felt. It was uncomfortable. Neither of us was good at it. But we tried. And at the end, he said, "We should do this more often. Actually talk, I mean." "Yeah," I said. "We should." The third test was the hardest. I started dating again. On a first date with a woman named Rachel, she asked what I was looking for. And instead of saying something smooth, I said, "Honestly, I'm trying to figure out how to let someone actually know me. I've spent most of my life being the person everyone needs, and I'm realizing I have no idea how to just be myself with someone." She smiled. That's the most honest thing anyone said to me on a first date. We've been seeing each other for 3 months now, and it's terrifying, because being known is more vulnerable than being respected. But here's what I'm learning. The people who stay when you stop being solid, those are the people who actually see you, not the role, not the function, not the utility. You. And that's what I'd been missing my entire life. I'd collected a lifetime of respect from people who admired what I could do. But I'd never experienced the depth of being known by people who cared about who I was. And being known is scary. Because you can't control it. You can't manage it. You can't perform it. You can only show up. Be honest. Let people see the real stuff. And then, trust that they'll stay. Some won't. And that's okay. Because the ones who do, they're worth more than 1,000 people who only respect you for what you can give them. Conclusion. The question that changes everything, I'm still figuring this out. I still default to being the helper, the problem solver, the guy with answers. That's not going away overnight, but now I catch myself. When someone calls and I start to automatically fix their problem, I pause, and sometimes I say, "I don't have advice on that, but I'm here if you want to talk through it." When I'm in a group and I start to perform the role of competent Jordan, I pause. And sometimes I say something honest instead, something uncertain, something real. And every time I do, it gets a little easier. Here's what I know now. Respect is not the same as connection. Being needed is not the same as being known. And you can be surrounded by people who admire you, while being completely alone. Because loneliness isn't about being by yourself. It's about being with people who only see the surface, and the only person who can change that is you. You have to be willing to crack the armor, to let people see the parts that aren't competent or impressive or put together, to risk being known instead of just being respected. And yes, some people will leave, because they were never interested in you, just in what you could do for them. But the ones who stay, they're the ones who matter, and being truly known by even one person is worth more than being respected by 100. So here's the question I want to leave you with. The question that changed everything for me. Who knows you beyond what you provide? Not who respects you, not who needs you, not who admires you, but who actually knows you. Your fears, your struggles, your doubts, your dreams. The person underneath the competence. If the answer is no one, then you're not alone. Silent male loneliness is an epidemic. Millions of men walking through life being respected, being needed, being relied upon, and completely unknown. But you don't have to stay there. You can start small. Tell one person one honest thing. Let someone see one crack in the armor. Risk being known by one person who actually cares. It won't fix everything overnight, but it's a start. And I'm learning that being known, really known, is worth the risk. Because respect might make you valuable, but connection makes you human. And being human is what we're all here for. If this story resonated with you, you're not alone. At Good Stories Today, we share real, honest stories about identity, connection, and the courage to be seen, not just admired. Stories about the quiet struggles we all face but rarely talk about. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Turn on notifications. And here's what I really want to know. Who knows you beyond what you provide? Leave a comment below. Let's talk about this. Because silent loneliness only stays silent when we refuse to talk about it. And maybe, just maybe, your honesty will give someone else permission to be honest too. Thank you for listening. And remember, being respected is good, but being known is everything.